This is 1480 KRAE Cheyenne.
Also being heard on translator K266CC Cheyenne at 101.1 FM.
It's time now for something new for you. It's KRAE Reports, a week in review. Now let's check in with our program right here on 1480 KRAE Cheyenne. And good morning. Welcome to KRAE Reports, a week in review. I'm Larry Proetti, along with Nick Proetti. Our special guest is Brian Kozak, who joins us this morning, the Republican nominee for Laramie County Sheriff. First off, Brian, congratulations on the victory, I guess we can say here, for the nomination to move on to the general election. One of the things I start off with as I look at our county, our local precincts 1, 2, and 3, it shows a lot of respect of the votes that you received in within the city, that people respected what you did as former chief of police.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think I was hoping reputation would carry the election through, and it did. So I didn't put a lot of money into signs and things like that. I was hoping people would remember the job that we did when I was police chief, and so I think they want to see the same kind of community outreach and the programming that we did in the PD and in the sheriff's office as well. So really looking forward to get in there and start working.
And again, it was, I want to just talk very quickly. It was a kind of hotly contested, at least, race between you and Don Hollingshead. Again, it was pretty much a flip a coin, and Boyd Reed as well too. Again, it was flip a coin of who could possibly come out of this thing. Looking at those primary numbers, where again it was a tight race between you two. Did the numbers surprise you a bit, Brian? Did you expect a little bit more support out of the box in the primary, or were you kind of at least expecting or happy with at least kind of the end result out of the primary?
No, I think I was really happy. I knew that Don would be close just because he puts so much emphasis on the marketing and the signs and so forth like that. So I knew it would be close, but I'm really happy the way it turned out. And our message was public safety before politics, and we were talking about really the main issue is changing the leadership culture within the sheriff's office and really reforming the jail, bringing in some new programming, drug treatment, work release program, work details, getting inmates out in the community, painting over graffiti, things like that. I think that resonated with people.
What's that? And again, with you and Don and Boyd, I don't want to say similar platforms, but for the most part, you were pretty close on a lot of items. But what sets you out from those other two candidates as you move on to the general?
Yeah, so I'm the only one through the primary, now in the general election. I'm the only one talking about jail reform, bringing in what's called addiction severity index assessments within the jail to see if inmates have drug issues and if they need treatment, and we start the lower level treatments within the facility. Doing work release program. So those inmates that are low risk and have to do jail time and they have a job, that way they won't lose their job. They can keep their job, get checked out, go to work, come back to jail. So another thing is work detail, getting inmates out in the community. And work details, helping nonprofit organizations or helping with the city paint over. There's so much graffiti right now that, helping cover that up. So those are I'm the only one that has programming in the jail. Yeah.
Brian, at least we had Don in as a representative of the jail about a couple of weeks ago, and he alluded to, again, some of the programs that they were looking to install as of right now, looking also to get the pay raise as well. And I don't know if you had a chance to at least listen to that conversation that we had with Don at least about a month or so ago. But again, it sounded like they were addressing a lot of needs and issues that have been kind of high criticism, especially at the jail, to keep those inmates, or at least basically not treat them as inmate number whatever. It's no, they're a person, and let's reform them and make sure, hey, we're not committing that crime again, that they're going to be reformed as they head back into society. I guess my question for you, Brian, what programs, or at least what's the status of the jail right now in your mind? That are these programs enough? Are they doing enough, or do we add more? And also, too, again, regarding the pay scale, is that something that needs to be addressed as well, or at least the bump needs to be a little bit more going forward if you are at least the sheriff?
Yeah, good question. So the pay, was addressed as far as entry-level positions. So they were bumped up, so they're pretty equal with the city now on entry-level officers and deputies. So that's a big help. The problem was they didn't address the senior staff. The deputies have been there 5, 6, 7 years, and so some of them now are discouraged because the new employees are making the same as people who've been there a long time. So it's something we got to get in and fixed. And if you on my website, I do have a plan how to do that, and possibly it's going to be over a 3-year period because we know the county's going to be tight with budget and money, but we have a plan to address that, to bring all employees up to market value eventually. But and then the programming that they have right now, they have good mental health. We want to add a little bit more to it as far as doing some group sessions, individual sessions with the counselors and the inmates on mental health treatment. And they just did something which is pretty cool. They just are doing tablets that they're giving the inmates so that they can receive their mail, make some phone calls and stuff through the tablets. So that's good technology that they're using. So yeah, I commend them for doing that. And so we just want to add to that by bringing, right now there's no drug programming. So that is the root cause. Jails such as in Colorado that have implemented programming like this can actually reduce some of the drug recidivism by 50%. And that's a big savings to the taxpayers.
Brian, how do you reach out now? And again, you have two competitors. I do believe Jess Fresco has the Democratic side, Jeff Barnes who's running as an independent. And again, you look at the primary. How do you reach out to the Don Hollingshead voters and to the Boyd Reed voters to jump on board and give you a little support? Again, I don't know. Have you reached out to the two other candidates to see if they would come on board and help you along?
Not really. I did have a meeting with Boyd shortly after the election, and I just kind of said, hey, send me a resume, and we'll look at it. But one of the things I want to do is look at all. So we know that leadership's an issue in the sheriff's office, which and I made it very clear that those in the top positions, the captains, may not be in those leadership positions when I take office. So it doesn't mean I won't find other places for them within the agency, right? But I do want to look at the whole leadership culture, bring in a brand new team with a lot of great experience, because we got a lot of work to do, to change that place around.
Let's talk about, again, we had Chief Francisco in the other day. Obviously, the work togetherness between the Laramie County Sheriff's Department and the Cheyenne Police Department. Again, with your dismissal as chief of police, I don't want to say you're harboring any ill feelings, but again, it has to be a co-op between the PD as well as the Laramie County Sheriff's Office. Plans that you have instituted or that you're working on to work with Chief Francisco and the PD.
Yeah, so we've had several meetings since he became chief. I think 3 meetings we've had so far. And so I think we're on the same page on most issues. And one of the things, as when I was police chief there were some limitations, for example, on the mutual aid contract with the sheriff and the PD. There were limitations which still exist. One of the things I want to do is break that down. I think we should be working as a team countywide, not just within a certain boundary around the city. So I do want to expand that and allow them that avenue to do that. There's a lot of great programs I think we can combine on. For example, our Citizens Police Academy. Why should, the sheriff doesn't do one now. The PD does. We started that when I was there. So instead of us doing our own separate thing, let's combine and do some of those proactive community things together. Same with the volunteer program. We could actually help coordinate that together. So those are some ideas, sharing crime information, having our detectives work together, because we know the bad guys, they're not staying in the city. They're going to committing crimes in the county and vice versa. So we got to share that intel and that information. And so we're on the same page with that. And Operation Change is a good one. When I was chief, the sheriff did not want to help with that program, but I think it's important because the homeless population affects county residents as well. So we should be working together on that Operation Change. So yeah, there's so many good things we can do to collaborate together.
As we alluded to, again, we had at least Mark Francisco in the previous week here on KRAE Reports, and again, at least main subject of the topic, at least having him in, was talking about crime stats. Again, midway point here in 2022. Again, crime stats have gone down, at least here in the city of Cheyenne. I think the only thing that trended upward was narcotics, which again I think is on par with the rest of the United States as of right now. Now we also too at least got his latest thoughts on the recent uptick in kind of violent crimes, again, with the recent stabbings, shooting out in the county as well, too. But want to get your thoughts on at least seeing those crime stats right now that were released by the Cheyenne Police Department saying that, hey, so far compared to last year in 2021, 2022, citizens should feel a little bit safer right now that, again, crime is, I don't want to say taking a back seat, but it's trending downwards here in the Cap City.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. This year is trending downwards. And so remember last year I was on and I said, hey, crime was shooting up. And primarily because the jail was not accepting property, drug offenders, nuisance violations associated with the homeless population. So this year the jail is accepting all those. So of course we're going to see a trending down, which is good news. I know it kind of feels to the community when I'm out talking to them, it feels like some of the violent crime has gone up. And we've seen it with the homeless population. We had 2 serious crimes, stabbings, right, with the homeless population. So I think that's what people are feeling with that homicide out near Pine Bluffs. Talking to some of the folks out there, you know, they were frustrated with, the response time from the sheriff responding to that was, you know, could be better. And also the fact that the suspect was at large and not apprehended and was in their community that night, actually hiding in a farm field. And the community wasn't notified, that they feel like they weren't properly notified or warned about that hazard. So those are things we got to work on, working, you know, with the Pine Bluffs Police Department, sharing information with them and the PD. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunities for us to really have just a good working law enforcement presence here in the county-wide.
With crime stats going down, and I guess, and for you, Brian, being the former chief of police here in the city of Cheyenne, again, knowing how crime stats work, but what does that correlate to? Are we having more boots on the ground, so to speak, protecting, again, around Cheyenne? Are we seeing that, you know, maybe crime just moving to some other city? I mean, what's the correlation with, as we see crime stats going down here in Cheyenne, is it something that we're just getting more cops that are kind of opening eyes and ears out to the streets around Cheyenne and Laramie County?
Yeah. So when you say crime stats going down this year, so we got to look at last year was so high. It was like 100% increase. So it was way out of normal last year. So this year they're trending down to normal ranges where we've always had it. So I wouldn't say it's going below what we're used to. It's just going back to that normal level. So, you know, I'm going to say, you know, the police department and of course, the sheriff's office need more boots on the ground. There's no doubt about it, because right now both agencies are kind of reactive in nature, and I sure would like to have a point, I'm sure Chief Francisco does as well, where we're more proactive and can do those more community engaging programs. But you know, you're limited with the resources you have, especially when you got people going off on injury, going off on military service. You got some people retiring. So you know, you do have to catch. The sheriff's office is about 55 employees short right now. So there's a lot of catching up to do there. Yeah.
Is there, at least now, regarding at least lack of numbers on both the sheriff's side and again also too with Cheyenne Police Department, does that go hand in hand? As right now, again, we're seeing it just here in Cheyenne, but again across the nation, again, kind of the housing crisis right now, again, inflation numbers, again, to at least get an apartment or get a house, again, I wouldn't say near impossible, but again, it's costly right now. And again, to move that family and move that individual into town, is that kind of also to a stopping force why folks are not heading out to Laramie County? Is just kind of the housing crisis that we're dealing with right now in the city of Cheyenne?
You know, that might be part of it. You know, the city is doing a lot better recruiting, so they're able to fill the positions that they have vacant. The sheriff is not, and I think it's just changing that leadership culture so people want to work there, and then that word gets out, and the employees help to recruit, and also getting in there and recruiting to those states where law enforcement officers don't feel too appreciated, you know, and tell them, hey, here's the benefits of working here in Laramie County. You know, the people here like their law enforcement. And so we got to really highlight that when we start our recruiting next year.
We're talking with Brian Kozak, who is the Republican nominee for Laramie County Sheriff. Brian, let's talk about, and let's just say this is the day after election. You get the badge pinned on you. Obviously, you got to go before the Laramie County Commissioners. They're the ones who are going to stamp whatever your needs are. I don't know if you've had a chance to look at the numbers. I would have ventured to say that you have been privy to what the budgets are for Laramie County Sheriff. You know what the numbers are for the Cheyenne PD. What would be the first concern that you would throw in? And again, we've talked salary, so you know we can we'll put that at the top of the list. But what would be one of your first concerns monetarily that you need from the Laramie County Commissioners to get this sheriff's department to your standards?
Yeah, that's a good question. So on my website, I do have a transitional action plan. It's a 6-month plan that you can go look at, like first week, what am I going to do? Second week, third, all the way up to 6 months. And within that first month, we're going to be looking at the salary of all the employees. I don't know what it is right now until I get in there and I look at each specific employee, how many years of service they had, and where they should be at market value, figure out what the total cost is to bring everyone up to market, and then possibly, you know, spread that over a 3-year period, do a proposal to the commissioners, a written plan, and how we can fix this, and then really educate the commissioners on why we need to do this, because it's costing a lot more money hiring and training people, and then they leave and we got to start all over again. So let's keep the people that we're hiring, and it's going to be a savings in the long run. So that's my job, is to educate the commissioners on how we can go about that, get their support, educate the community as well and get their support. So that's my plan if you look at the action plan. And
Brian, you've had a chance again as we at least get past the primary and obviously can focus now on the general election right now. But again, you've been at many events, whether in Cheyenne or again throughout this at least county right now, to at least go in front, at least in front of people, and again, at least introduce yourself and get an understanding of what the needs and wants are for folks. I want to move to the county because, again, obviously Laramie County Sheriff, again, it involves Burns, Carpenter, Pine, again, all these other communities out here. Again, they want their safety as well, just like here in Cheyenne. What is the county residents kind of addressing to you, Brian, of their needs and wants? Is it lack of bodies, lack of patrol? What are their needs and wants, and how will you kind of fulfill those?
yeah, absolutely. They want to see deputies out there. They haven't in a long time. I spent 3 days out with retired Deputy Grimm. He was a rural deputy, and we spent 3 days driving to all the outskirts of the county, hitting all the ranchers and farms, and that's what unanimously, that's what everyone's saying. We want to see the rural deputies out of here again, building relationships with people. So we just got to hire people before we can get to that point. In the meantime, what we can do is, I've promised everyone I'm going to wear a uniform. I'm going to drive a marked vehicle. I'm going to put graphics on it. My captains, lieutenants that are working patrol, they're going to drive marked vehicles, wear a uniform. We're going to be out there in the county as well. Want to bring back the reserve deputy program. There's a lot of people that want to volunteer and help out. Get those folks that have been trained and certified, get them in uniform helping out. They want to do it free. So let's get them on board. Bring back volunteers citizens who want to help as well. They can do VIN checks and things like that to free up the deputies to do the more engagement programming. So there's a lot we can do in that area, and that's what overwhelming. They want to see deputies out there helping.
I don't want to make this sound like Mayberry, but again, Cheyenne, obviously the county seat, as well as again, where we got to bring the bad guys to the big jail. Are there auxiliary or satellite locations within Laramie County? Matter of fact, Nick, you mentioned the Pine Bluff. Both of you mentioned the Pine Bluff situation. Is there a holding facility in Pine Bluffs if we got a bad guy and we'd have to come on out, pick them up? Again, do we have any of those auxiliary type of holding facilities until the main crux of the sheriff's department comes out and brings them into Cheyenne?
No, there are not. So of course, there's the Pine Bluffs Police Department. Chance Wackema is the police chief there. They do a great job, but I think what's lacking there is the teamwork between the two agencies. So we'll build that up and help Pine Bluffs, and they can help us as well. So, for example, the homicide that was in the county was just a few miles outside of Pine. So Pine PD could have actually responded much faster than what a deputy got there. So that's just an example. The holding cell, they don't have holding cells out there. So like Pine police officers, they got to drive people into the main jail if they want to take someone into custody and book them.
Is that something that you are considering, an auxiliary facility? Again, because like you mentioned, Nick, Carpenter, Hillsdale, Egbert, all small communities that all want the same type of protection as you get here in Cheyenne, as well as Pine, even Granite Canyon. I mean, again, we've got all these smaller communities, but bad guys are everywhere.
Right, yeah. So, for example, in the Pine City Government Building, also in Burns, There are, and also in the rural district fire departments, most have offices set aside for the sheriff as a satellite office. They haven't been used in years. So we do want to staff that. Now, of course, we don't have the bodies to put someone out there all the time. But for example, we could have an employee out there on certain days of the month, and you come out there and get your CCW permits, you get your background checks done and things like that, maybe one or 2 days a month. Or also my plan is on my action plan, I want to also be out in those communities on those particular days to also be engaging with the public so they can tell me the issues that they have, and then we can come back and try to address them. So those are good ideas. So the officers are there. We just need to find a way to start using
And
them.
again, all of our sheriff's deputies, and I'm venturing to say you've had a chance to, go down the roster, know who's who and where they're from. Do you want to keep them based in those particular areas, or does everybody got to fly into Cheyenne?
Yeah. So if we have a deputy that lives out in one of those outlying areas, they can go to work right there and work in that area and not have to come downtown. So that's the goal. Unfortunately, there are none right now that live in those outlying areas. And so one of the things that we want to do is try to recruit people who already live out there to be deputies, because then they can. So that's the rural deputy program. They get a nice truck. They get to go work right from their house. They don't have to come into the headquarters building. They can just stay out there and do their job. And so that's the goal that we want to reach. Yep.
All right, we're going to take a break. We will be right back with, we'll wrap things up here with Brian Kozak on 1480 KRAE. Back after these words.
Your locally owned and operated radio stations, KYOI FM and 1480 KRAE AM, are just that, local, serving Cheyenne and Laramie County, where your advertising dollar stays local too. It doesn't end up in Colorado, Oklahoma, New Hampshire, or even New York. We conduct business here. We shop here, and we live here. And we support our entire community 24/7, 365. Just because it has a window dressing doesn't mean it isn't a facade. A reminder from KYOI and 1480 KRAE. MHP is a certified public accounting and consulting firm located in Bow, Cheyenne, and Fort Collins, offering accounting, tax, and consulting services to businesses, not-for-profit, government, and individual clients. MHP takes pride in their commitment to providing close, personal attention to their clients. They also continue to invest time and resources in continuing education, state-of-the-art computer technology, and valuing their relationships with you. MHP is a proud supporter of local and UW athletics. MHP, 314 West 18th Street, or call 634-2151. It's always nonstop excitement when you visit one of our 3 locations of Wyoming Gop. Inside the Outlaw Saloon on the South Greeley Highway, the Cheyenne Plaza, and at 1345 Delrange Boulevard, next to Culver's and Office Depot, where we offer many new machines and also have plenty of food and drink on hand in our spacious Delrange location. The action is always fast and furious with our pari-mutuel wagering from the nation's tracks and our pari-mutuel machines, which offer many different and fun games to play on. You can become the next big winner here in Cheyenne. Make sure to take advantage of all the promotions that we offer too. So come on in today and bring a friend to enjoy a lot of fun and excitement at Wyoming Gop in the Cheyenne Plaza, inside the Outlaw Saloon, and at 1345 Delrange Boulevard. Open 7 days a week. For more information, go to wydowns.com.
Hey Cheyenne, it's Lee at Absolute Flooring. Are you ready to get that new floor you've been waiting for? Wait no more. Mohawk's summer sale is here. Absolute Flooring has placed all types of flooring by Mohawk and other manufacturers on sale, just in time for you to get that new floor now. Low prices throughout the store, no interest financing, experienced fashion consultants. What are you waiting for? Beat feet down to Absolute Flooring in the Cheyenne Plaza and see us at AbsoluteFlooringWYO.com. It's always your home, your floor, your store. Absolutely.
For nearly 30 years, family-owned and operated Lennox Auto Body, along with the Auto Glass and Detail Center, has been serving our community with quality and customer satisfaction. It's a pretty simple drill. When you want it done right the first time, call Lennox Auto Body for an appointment at 307-634-6608. Lennox Auto Body at 1020 Dunn Avenue. And the Auto Glass and Detail Center. Remember, it's not clean until it's Lennox clean at 617 East Pershing Boulevard.
Lennox Auto Body. No shortcuts, no compromise.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
Otherwise, for today, sunshine. Expected daytime high near 76. Clear for tonight with our low down of 45. Continued sunny for tomorrow.
We're looking for a daytime high near 77, and for Tuesday night, a mostly clear night or low down to 48.
We get ready to wrap up our conversation with Republican nominee for Laramie County Sheriff, Brian Kozak. Brian, again, you will face two challengers. Jeff Fresquez on the Democratic side, Jeff Barnes on the Independent side. And again, this would be the platform for you, not so much the Republican Party, but what sets you apart from those two?
Yeah, obviously it's experience, right? Been doing the job 35 years, police chief for 15 years. So I've been at the top and experienced almost every situation that can, come to the head of an agency. And so experiencing bringing the community together and getting the agency engaged with the public, which is what they're looking for. And so primarily what we want to do is bring in a culture of good leadership, start recruiting people, retaining employees. We want to reform the jail, bring in those drug programming, try to stop the revolving jail door. It's spinning out of control right now. To try to get drug treatment to those that need the help and want the help. And then get inmates out in the community working, helping out, work release program. So those are the main ideas on the platform. And so really looking forward to getting in there and start working.
And finally, again, we want to thank you for coming on in and talking with us, and best of luck in the November general election. Again, under the leadership of Danny Glick, and again, Danny's been there, 5 terms now, as our Laramie County Sheriff. If you are elected, obviously you come in, it's a new face, new philosophy, change. And we were kind of talking a little bit off air about change. Sometimes we get set in our ways. Obviously you want to come on in, boots on the ground, so to speak, things that you are looking to modify or put into play right away.
Yeah, so the very first thing is that leadership culture. Training the employees, for example, harassment, not going to be tolerated anymore within the sheriff's office. So, and training the employees what kind of culture we're looking for. So we want ideas. We want your ideas. How do we make improvements within the agency? And that's the very first step. I want to listen to you. We want to work together. And so my job is going to be bridging those gaps between the employees and the sheriff, myself, and making sure all the leaders in between, they're listening to the employees like they should be. So that's priority number one. Before we can do anything else, we got to start hiring people.
And last but not least, Brian, as you alluded to your website a few times, let's give folks, again, that website address for more information, or, again, the various social medias. Again, if they want to reach out to you, again, how do folks get in contact and get more information on you as we prepare for that general election?
Yeah, great. So it's briankozak.com. So that's pretty simple, briankozak.com. And everything we've talked about is on that website. Also on Facebook. Facebook is going to be Kozak for Sheriff. And then we got Instagram, which is Brian Kozak for Sheriff. So any of those platforms, reach out to me.
Will there be any debates? We had primary debates. Will there be any general election debates? Have you heard of anything in the works?
The Women League, the League of Women Voters is going to do something on Zoom. However, on my website, there is a debate between Jeff Barnes and myself. So people can go look at that debate. It's fairly long, about an hour and a half. And so, yeah, you can go look at that right now.
All right, Brian, best of luck to you again, and thank you for joining us here on 1480 KRAE. This is KRAE Reports, a week in review. We'll be right back.
Treat your taste buds to a warm bagel at Mort's Bagels with your favorite cream cheese. Perfect for the office or perfect at home. Mort's Bagels are always made fresh and delicious daily. They are perfect for breakfast and lunch, too. Did I mention perfect? For 3 decades, Mort's has served us with amazing bagels and customer service. Ask about their specialty and seasonal selections, too. They even deliver. Mort's Bagels. Treat yourself today. 1815 KRAE Avenue, downtown Cheyenne.
For almost 60 years, 1480 KRAE has been Cheyenne's home for good times and great oldies. Add to that live play-by-play sports featuring high school football and basketball, along with LCCC men's and women's basketball. Now combo that with KYOY FM and you have Cheyenne and the area's only locally owned AM and FM radio stations. But we don't stop there. We also have 2 FM translators which serve the area with programming from both KRAE and KYOY. And that equals a lot of bang for your advertising dollar. Radio yesterday and now today, along with our websites, web streams, and digital ventures makes us your one-stop shop. For more information, please call Larry Proetti at 307-637-0301.
Wisdom, expertise, compassion, qualities that are the foundation of Cheyenne Urological, with their experienced doctors and their highly trained staff providing top-quality treatment for prostate cancer, urinary tract infections, kidney stones, impotence, and incontinence. You can trust Cheyenne Urological to give you the highest quality urinary care. Now offering the latest in robotic surgery, call Cheyenne Urological at 635-4131. At 635-4131.
We are the key to your cleaning success. The Key People that provides affordable office and professional cleaning services for over 40 years with exceptional customer care. All of our contractors have background checks and are licensed and bonded. We guarantee you a safe and secure service that is tailored to your individual and business needs. The Key People do not impose year-long contracts, and all quotes are free, confidential, and personalized. Call Key People at 1-800-468-8283. That's 1-800-468-8283.
Sweetie, want some fruit? You have to use the right tool for the job. A power drill is the wrong tool to slice fruit. Just like an antibiotic is the wrong tool to treat viruses, including colds and flu. Antibiotics are only needed for certain bacterial infections. When they aren't needed, antibiotics won't help you, and the side effects could still hurt you. Ask your healthcare professional when an antibiotic is the right tool and when it's not. Visit cdc.gov/antibiotic-use.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
Weather-wise for today, sunshine. Expected daytime high near 76. Clear for tonight with our low down to 45. Continued sunny for tomorrow. We're looking for a daytime high near 77. And for Tuesday night, a mostly clear night, our low down to 48.
Welcome back to KRAE Reports, a week in review. She is not going to go away quietly. Matter of fact, January 2nd, there will be a new face representing the state of Wyoming, whether it is frontrunner Harriet Hageman or Democratic challenger. But our current representative, U.S. Representative Liz Cheney, spoke. As a matter of fact, I was watching some of the interview. She spoke to the CEO of the Texas Tribune, Evan Smith. Kind of, again, still being very opinionated on the Donald Trump situation. But again, I go back to what I tell you, though, Nick. It's interesting with Liz Cheney. Before January 6th of 2021, Liz Cheney was basically in the corner pocket of one Donald Trump when he was president of the United States with his policies. Now,
I'd say yes and no. Again, she was vocal as it got.
But she voted most of the time with Trump's policies. But with that being said, she made the candid statement. Again, it's in the Cowboy State Daily. She made the candid statement that I certainly will do whatever it takes to make sure Donald Trump isn't anywhere close to the Oval Office. Well, again, this is my opinion. And take my opinion for what it's worth. I think her career basically here in Wyoming is done. I think the voters
was proven in the primary.
The voters basically said, Liz, you're done. And again, you go back to the 2020 numbers. Trump was very popular in the state of Wyoming and probably in Middle America. Donald Trump is very strong right now. But my point is, though, with her, whether she did not make mention that she's planning to run on the Republican presidential primary, to me, she won't even be a thought if she even throws her hat into the ring. Again,
well, she alluded to it, I do believe, in that at least speech up in Jackson Hole, again, at least primary speech, did allude that she would look into, again, running at least for president down the line. Again, it sounded like also, too, again, it was alluding to that, hey, I might not even be an R once it comes to that point in time. And again, you look at this recent, at least, again, interview regarding Liz Cheney, where, hey, if Trump gets that nod in 2024 and he's the representative,
She'll switch parties.
Yeah, she'll switch parties. So if anything, that kind of adds fuel to the fire to an extent where, again, you think folks are going to be all aboard on that, where, again, hey, let's vote for Donald Trump because I really hate Liz Cheney and let's get her out of there, or at least let's get her out of her party. So, again, be careful what you wish for, Liz Cheney. So it is what it is. And again, state of Wyoming basically spoke up a few months ago saying, hey, we don't want you anymore.
Right.
Realize that, again, she is just a career politician, again, in that family lineage that is, again, question marks all over the place. You know, again, for Liz Cheney, again, plain and simple, she was a carpetbagger that took advantage of a situation here in the state of Wyoming. Again, is she a true, proud Wyomingite?
She was born and raised here, but she lives in Virginia.
Yeah, I never got that vibe. I don't think she really cared about the state. It was more so of just being in power, at least, and that's my personal opinion. And again, it would be interesting to see what she does in her future political career once it, again, comes to an end here of, does she attempt to go after the, at least, presidential nomination on whatever side she goes for? Again, does she try to go after a seat as a representative for the state of Virginia? Again, who knows? Again, it's Liz Cheney, I equate to, and again, very similar as well to almost kind of a Hillary Clinton-esque, at least, style of a candidate that kind of has
more of a whiner.
Has more of a holier than thou look at themselves as well too. But again, takes advantage of, you know, unique situations and, again, for that political power game.
Well, and again, too, if I can assume here in 2024, let's just throw names out. Donald Trump, then again, on the Republican side, Donald Trump, Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, and I'll even throw in former Vice President Mike Pence. I would say those are the three. I'm just saying those are the three top right now that would be in Republicans' minds. Liz Cheney, like you said, not even an afterthought right now. And if you're going to run because of an attitude, then you know what? I think you do the country more harm than good.
It does feel like a little bit of sour grapes on her behalf, again, with all this. And again, saying that, oh, if he becomes, you know, elected official, or at least he's a representative, then I'm going to switch and change. Again, everyone's doing that. It's just the trendy thing to do. Who cares? Again, it doesn't, at least for me, it doesn't bother me. It's pretty much, if anything, for Liz Cheney, and again, for a lot of those career politicians, just go away. But, you know, again, with Liz Cheney, she took advantage of this state, I feel like. The state spoke up, said, hey, we're unhappy with, you know, again, what you've done, or at least creating this, you know,
being part of that committee.
Yeah, this pretense of the January 6th committee, which, again, seems like a complete joke. Again, it was, or at least that whole just investigation was just complete, just, again, joke.
It's got way too many holes in it.
It was a waste of time, essentially. So, again, Liz Cheney, yeah, it sounds like it's just pure sour grapes. Take your ball, go home, back to Virginia, and we'll see what again, at least her political career takes her, at least moving forward, if at all.
All right, in our final few minutes here that we have with you today, and again, doing an hour program, Nick a little under the weather. Of course, Pops came out of it. Again, I'm just hoping you just got the bug, because that's what's been floating around here in Wyoming, just a good old-fashioned head cold, not COVID.
Well, it's a mixture of, again, COVID as well, too. So
everything is COVID now.
Well, again, we're
out
of the pandemic, and again, I'm not freaking out if it is COVID or anything like that. Did not get tested or anything like on that situation. So, again, we've fought through it before. Again, I'm not worried. So, it is what it is. But again, you're starting to see that, again, with the change in temperatures, change in weather right now here in the state of Wyoming, that more and more folks are get a little sick, and it was something that, at least talking on the way back here from Denver late last night from, again, that interesting Broncos 49ers game, but it was just a scenario of, with, again, this uptick in kind of sickness, does it prompt, again, where we just officially got out, according to President Biden's terms, that, hey, the pandemic is officially over, but again, this recent uptick in cases, again, with just that seasonal flu, cold, and again, with the change of temperatures, and again, seems like it could be a mixture of COVID spreading around as well, too. You kind of were, at least for me, in kind of a joking fashion, kind of worried of, will we return back to a pandemic or get a quarantine situation, or again, will folks kind of put the scare button up again to say, oh, here we go again.
You're putting the cart before the horse. Things are available.
No, I get that. Yeah,
things are available. If you feel you can go get a COVID shot. If you really find it necessary to go get a COVID shot, you can also get a flu shot.
Yeah.
So, again, medicines are available to you right now if you have that fear. If you want to go to your family doctor to get tested, go get tested.
I'm just saying, I wondered again. I'm particularly not worried for myself. And again, don't know, do or have. Again, it's neither here nor there. Again, just a little under the weather. And again, it's been a slow, at least progress, at least back to normality. But again, there is that vocal minority that kind of press this pandemic and oppress again. How many times did we say, or at least again look to again in the airport situation again, removing of the masks back in what was that June of this year? And a lot of folks were vocal saying, hey, you got to put this back in. It was that vocal minority. I again slightly worry that vocal minority will step back up again in this situation and go, oh, hey, we got to shut this down.
I think it's going to be one of those options. Hey, if you feel incumbent to wear a mask, wear.
Yeah.
And there are some people, even when I'm going around town, there are some people that wear a mask and others that choose not to. But here's the deal. I look back at the last bug I caught. Okay? See, again, we don't catch a cold anymore. We either got COVID, whatever. I can tell you from personal experience, I know what COVID was. I got it last summer, July of 2021. So I know what it is. This last bug I had was just a good old-fashioned head cold and a cough, which I stayed indoors. I did not go outside and expose myself to anybody, like going working out at where I work out at Fitness One. My point is, you take the medicines or, again, go get the shots. But, again, the day and age of just the 24-hour, 48 bugs, they're not going to happen. And first thing is going to be coming to mind, it's COVID. You know what? I'm over it. It took me about 4 or 5 days to get over it. Medicines. And again, staying at home, getting a lot of rest. Things that we used to do when we were younger, stay home. And again, my appetite, I didn't lose my appetite. The only thing I lost was my sense of taste because my nose was plugged up. And again, too, there's other factors involved here in Wyoming. We're talking about change of seasons. So again, allergy levels are high in this part of the world.
I don't think that's it, but
no, but I'm just saying allergy levels are high. Change of weather was not good.
Yeah.
And this week we're supposed to have consistent temperatures. So, hopefully you will be out of this by the time we do our game Friday evening.
Like I said, again, it's not a massive worry or anything like that. It's pretty much just a thought that crept in my mind where, again, that vocal minority has been very, very vocal in the past couple of years here in this country that, again, with a surge, like as we're seeing, again, a lot of folks around, not even just here in Cheyenne, Laramie County, in Laramie, Albany County, down in Colorado, again, a lot of folks sick down there. Again, will it prompt that vocal minority to step back up and say, hey, we got to shut things down. Again, I don't worry about that. Again, I would think that President Biden, again, where he officially goes and says, hey, pandemic's done, that we're not going to, again, step back into a pandemic all of a sudden just due to a resurgence. So, again, we'll see.
And the vocal minority tried to get everybody all hyped up on monkeypox. That has come and gone.
No.
Again, we have to understand, it is that time of year with cooler temperatures, change of seasons. Again, stuff in the air, Nick. I mean, again, we had, soot in the air from fires. The leaves are changing. People do have allergies. They do have seasonal allergies. So again, cold and flu season is upon us. It's not panic season. And you're not seeing it across the U.S. right now where everybody's in a major uproar. Hey, guess what? We got spikes going on. Yeah, in some of the different areas of the country, you have seasonal bugs.
It'll be interesting to see again as we're officially done to see if anything does develop from this. Where again, do we step backwards? Which again, I don't think we would. I don't think it would be a popular opinion.
I hope it's not COVID-4. That's just the only thing I can hope for.
Anyway.
We got to wrap it up here. The Wyoming GOP selected 3 candidates for interim Secretary of State as Ed Buchanan has stepped down as the Secretary of State. Now, again, Chuck KRAE, who is the Republican nominee and should win,
We'll see.
Well, again,
Yeah,
he's running unopposed right now.
He should, as much as people are trying to, again, stop at least that progress, and again, pretty much just toss any old candidate across his
and
way,
again,
so.
the Republican Party here in Wyoming, the leadership of the Republican Party has censured Cale Case, a Republican out of, I believe, Lander, for his comments, because, again, he was trying to recruit people to run against Chuck KRAE because of a difference of opinion.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine. I don't have a problem with you trying to recruit, but again, too, there should be the party backing of this particular candidate running. I know not everybody's going to agree with his philosophy or ways of doing business, but the guy legitimately won the primary. There was no cheating in the primary. And then again, now you're
I'm
trying.
not saying here nor there, but again, we talk about hot topics and again trending results or at least situations here in this country. Again, this is what we've seen on a nationwide side. So again, go figure that's happening here in the state of Wyoming, where again we've had issues. Again, look at what's going on with Harriet Hageman, again trying to at least spearhead her as well too, where there's folks that disagree with her and trying to do everything that they can to make sure that she doesn't get in. Again, this is something that I will talk until, again, hopefully things change here in the political system of this country, or at least the thought process for at least average Joe citizen out here, that this team mentality where, again, you got to think my way, you got to think this X, Y, Z on down, is not a smart way to go about things, where, again, people have differing opinions, that they're not going to be some manufactured guy that's to your exact needs. No, we're going to, again, folks grow up in different environments, grow up around different situations, find that, hey, this works, that doesn't work, or again, I want this and I don't want that. This team politics playing that we do, and again, it's both sides. It's both sides, absolutely. And again, I would say even for the libertarian side as well on the middle, that again, it's a dangerous way to go. And again, you get situations like this where now, again, in your opinion, if Chuck KRAE is the right guy to do it for you, now we have battles within the own party. Again, it's something that this is going to be, it's more dirty politics. That, again, how much longer is this going to last?
And Nick, this is nothing new. I mean, you make it sound like
no,
this
I get that.
I know, but you're making it sound like it's brand new. I mean, this has been around for a long time. John Anderson, who ran as an independent candidate, if I'm not mistaken, I think his political affiliation back then was Democrat. Ross Perot, who was a Republican, ran as an independent. So again, just because you disagree with the party, and you want to splinter off, that's fine. You think you're going to steal votes? Hey, great, terrific, if that's the way you want to be. But again, to have somebody speak against you on your own side, like Cale Case did, and again, I respect the Republican Party for censoring him, because again, what he did, I thought was kind of low blow.
Yeah,
and he got exactly what he deserved. If I had the opportunity, I would definitely sit here and campaign against that guy if he ever ran again. Yeah. I would say this guy is nothing but trouble.
Yeah, it certainly seems like it. Again, there's a lot of folks within that state legislature that are potential trouble that, again, need to get out. To go,
and their career, some of them have been there forever.
Yeah, without a doubt. And again, that's the biggest issue. And again, hopefully some point in time in our lifetime that, again, term limits on both I would say even on the city council side, especially here in Cheyenne. Again, city of Cheyenne is a prime example. Again, how many times we get the same similar folks in where, again, is it time to get new fresh blood for at least representing here in the city of Cheyenne? Again, it's a systemic problem from top to down, at least top to bottom here in this country.
Well, nobody wants to do this, though. See, that's just it, because we sit here and talk about all of the negatives. I mean, again, I look at a guy like Charlie Scott up in Casper. I've been here since '86. It seems like that guy's been in the Wyoming Senate since then.
Well, again,
that's 36 years.
Steve Harshman, Effie Bouchard, just to go on down. Again, there's a lot of names that, again, are just, again, folks just keep to it again, just repeating and repeating again. Look at here in town again. Look who our current mayor is again with Mayor Collins again. He's been alive for, or it seems like, again, for a long time on that city council dais, and again, just moved up to that opportunity to become the mayor here in the city of Cheyenne. So it's something that it is hopefully, again, gets addressed at a point in time. And I think people are
getting to that point.
Getting to that point of, hey, let's push this. And again, not on a federal side, but again, in all aspects.
I think it should be both. I think I think it should go all the way down from the Fed all the way down to the local level. Because,
yeah, without
again,
a doubt.
Again, our governor only can be governor for 2 terms. So, why can't we have some term limits on some of these different positions? Again, I think you'd have to add an amendment to the. We already talked about this. You have to add an amendment to the U.S. Constitution.
Which there's a way to do. Obviously, again, it's a concerted effort to get it done, but again, will it ever get done? Probably not, because again, we can't get most things
because it's a swamp. It's a swamp in DC.
Yeah, so we'll see. But going really quickly back
to the 3 candidates.
Yeah, again, with this, again, 3 at least candidates were at least selected for the interim Secretary of State. I do believe very soon, again, one of those 3 will at least be
selected by the governor.
Selected again and put in that position. But it's something that, again, here we are coming down the general election. Whoever Governor Gordon picks doesn't really matter because, again, it's something of how much say is that Secretary of State going to be as an interim where, hey, this is not your position, not officially. What control or what do you have an option for? And I guess
they're going to be a lame duck, Nick, basically. Yeah. What they're going to do is keep things running and make a smooth transition until
but they're not
Chuck Gray takes over.
They're not going to do much as Secretary of State. It's pretty much you're holding the position until whoever gets past that general election, that's our office. So good luck. But again, whoever Governor Gordon selects, it really, at least to me, doesn't feel like it's going to matter a whole lot, or again, it doesn't mean much because again, what power, what position, or what are they going to be able to do?
The state constitution has parameters, and you have to have somebody in that position.
No, I get that. I get just to fill that position, but what is that Secretary of State going to do for the next couple of months?
Well, they're going to be Secretary of State, and guess what? You got a November.
I don't think they're going to do much.
You got an election coming up in November, so again, they have to be on top of that.
I get that, but again, what power, what policies, or anything like that? Again, what is this interim candidate going to do?
Well,
I don't think much. So I think you put out the term correctly. Again, it's just a lame duck.
Well, and they're also there to rubber stamp some stuff. For example, my LLC. Even though I have to do that like in the early part of the year, people's businesses, as they apply for an LLC or they want to be incorporated, whatever the case may be. You still have to have the Secretary of State rubber stamp it. So in this situation, whoever is in play, and again, they're basically warming the chair, Nick, until Chuck Gray takes over on January.
Whoever.
Well, I right now he doesn't really have any competition. So again, let's kind of hand the paper over to Chuck Gray and say, hey, you're going to be there January 2nd. But my point is they're just keeping the seat warm until that time. But you still have to do those duties of the state of Wyoming. And again, those that are nominated,
again,
they're all
this
qualified.
individual's just going to go through the motions. It's just what is
and they realize that. They realize they're going to be a lame duck, but they do know what the daily operations
I'm
is
just
of
saying,
Secretary
for
of State.
folks here in this state, though, it's something that do not worry that all of a sudden things are going to go awry at that top level, or again from the Secretary of State. No, again, they're just going to bare minimum do their job.
But they're also the number 2 position in the state behind the governor.
That's why I'm saying, again, I don't anticipate whoever Governor Gordon selects that, again, this individual, as an interim, is going to make changes left and right or do something drastic. It's something that
they're keeping the seat warm.
That's about it.
So, yeah.
So it's nothing to worry about that. Again, this is a placeholder, and that's it.
But whoever steps in, they have to still assume the day-to-day operations. So you may think the Secretary of State's office does absolutely nothing, but they do a lot.
Well, they do something, but I'm just saying, though, again, it's going to be bare minimum work out of this individual, whoever Governor Gordon selects, and that's about it. It's pretty much, we keep saying it, they're a seat warmer until whoever comes out of that general election.
And what they're doing is basically making sure that the transition from them to, let's say, Chuck Gray is a smooth one. So basically they're going to have...
That'll be interesting.
Oh, it should be. I don't think it. I think
I don't think so, but again, we've seen stranger things in this day and age. So again, could it go chaotic? I highly doubt it. But again, it'd make things just that much more interesting of an interim candidate to just say, "Hey, I'm putting up a fight" all of a sudden. But
no, not going to happen. All right. Well, we're going to get ready to wrap things up here. Do invite you to join us. A couple of things. First off, on the sports side, Friday evening we will be at Risky Field. We will have Cheyenne Central, Cheyenne South. It says it's nice to be back in town. We want to thank our friends over in Burns for the nice treatment we got this past Friday night. We will have Central and South. I do believe 6 o'clock kickoff over here on
I would
1480
safe to assume, yeah.
And then tomorrow we will be back with our pro show. Yours truly, along with Nick Perotti.
Maybe we'll see how again I develop going forward. I feel all right, or a lot better than I was last week. So.
You just go to bed when you get done.
That'd be nice.
Take some of that stuff I gave you.
I have been.
And take that and knock you
I
right out.
think what affected me right now is again lack of sleep. Again, coming back, again, driving from Denver all the way to Laramie, late after again that
and
contest.
nobody's going to feel sorry for you.
No,
because,
I'm not.
I mean,
I'm
you've
not
been to
looking
Houston,
I'm not looking
Miami, Denver. You know, I mean, you're all over the place. You never give your body enough time to rest.
I get that, and like I said, we'll see how the body is reacting tomorrow. Again, I won't be on the go today, but again, it was. Again, go figure. Again, if we do have a show again, a lot of it will be spent on that just terrible Sunday night football game. Again, no one won that game, even though again Broncos at least got a victory on the win-loss. And again, they're in first place of all things in the AFC West. Neither team won last night's game. Again, Broncos and 49ers have a lot.
You
of
don't
issues.
want to hear my opinion, and I've told you that ever since he became a 49er. So I
wasn't on the Jimmy G train either, but. Again, he's the guy. He's the go-to guy as of right now, so it is what it is.
And he still sucks.
Yeah.
So there you go. All right, so we'll schedule our pro show for 11 o'clock tomorrow, unless Nick is under the weather. So with that being said, we are going to wrap things up here for today. Thank you again to Brian Kozak, again, the Republican nominee for Laramie County Sheriff, joining us earlier in the show. So for Nick Perotti, I'm Larry Perotti. That wraps up KRAE Reports, and we can review. We now return to